So good morning, everyone. I am so pleased to be back with you. I absolutely love coming to Whidbey Island. And when I come to be with you, I always come a day early. And yes, just to be here. And I'm fortunate to have friends on the island. And so it's a wonderful time to reconnect in person with people that I care about. So my topic today is friendship and the blessings of friendship. And this is honestly one of my favorite things to talk about because I am richly blessed with friends. Just a couple of weeks ago, I attended a birthday party of someone I've known for 35 years. She was just turning 70. So I've known her children since they were born, and to be in a room with all of the people who loved her was a joyous, joyous thing. And then the very next day, I got to go to Easter Sunday dinner at the home of a friend she's a Martha Stewart of Hostess. And so there were 13 people around the table, and the connections and the friendships among us were powerful and warm, and it was a great day. So I living in that sense of gratitude for my friends, I must tell you, the flip side of it is I come from a crazy family. So I've often realized that all of these marvelous friends are God's way of saying, sorry about the family thing. All right, so, friends are part of, the way that God loves us through other people, right? And they're the people then who support us and uplift us, who encourage us. They encourage us to be the best versions of ourselves. They're the ones who encourage us to take risks, who say bravo when we succeed, and pick us up off the floor when we fall. Because they are part of our birthright as children of God. And we know this in New Thought. Our birthrights are to experience rewarding creative expression. Our birthright is to experience abundance and prosperity. Our birthright is to experience radiant well-being in our body and soul and spirit. And our birthright is loving relationships with those in the circle of our lives. So as I was preparing my talk, I wrote some words that describe what friendship is and what friendship does. So let me list those and then we'll go through them one at a time. The first is forgiveness. Second is reciprocity. The third is teaching and learning. Fourth is diversity. The fifth is emotional intimacy. And the fifth is witness. So let's take forgiveness first. I maintain that friendship is the laboratory of forgiveness. It is where we learn forgiveness for everyone's human frailty. No one is perfect, certainly not me. And what our friends do is they forgive our foibles and our frailties and love us just the same. And so living in that realm of forgiveness and unconditional love is so foundational to us. So, when one of your friends does something that just pisses you off, we forgive them, right? Because we know the wholeness of their being. And we know that forgiveness then smooths the way for every other bit of gift in friendships, especially when they fail us. I certainly have failed as a friend, but I try not to. Friends teach us the difference between impact and intention. Quite often, it's the impact of something we do or say that hurts someone, when that was not our intent at all. So that's where a lot of self-learning comes in. Our friends can be a mirror of how we can just learn to be better people. The second one is reciprocity, the give and take. And I will tell you that give and take is never equal for equal. You might have a friend who invites you for lovely dinners and invites you to go on outings and invites you, they're better off financially, so when you're going to an event, they bought the tickets and know this is just my gift. And you think, I can never repay that. But then your friend realizes that when they spend time with you, they feel so much better. Perhaps you share a bit of truth with them that changes their life. That's the reciprocity. It's never equal for equal. Don't ever try to do that. But realize when you give something of value and receive something of value from your friends, that is the reciprocal. And an aside on that, if you're always the one who's giving, if you're always the one, let's not call that friendship. Let's call it something else. Perhaps that's your ministry, right? And if there's someone whose drama always hooks you, well, we know what that is, right? And we're all working to heal from that. We don't have to rescue people. I will tell you that my personal standard for someone I allow into the inner circle of my life is that they've basically got their act together, that they're essentially happy people that have bumpy road once in a while, and that they try to give more than they take, all right? That's a profound way to be. Okay, let's talk about teaching and learning. Your friends are not just by your side, they get inside you too. They get inside your head, and they affect your life. I learn a lot from the people in my life. I learn a lot of good habits. I learn a lot about self-care, self-respect, about, trying new things. I see what addiction and abuse can do. And so sometimes the people in the circle of our lives are just the bad examples, right? But the good examples of our friends, they teach us what's normal. They shape how we see the world. And they teach us what's desirable and worth our time and our energy. And sometimes with our friends, we nudge them and coax them. I'm going to give a shout out to two of my friends who are on Zoom today, Kathy and Sue. Yeah, I'm the one that got you to go on pilgrimage in Spain. And I know it changed your lives, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy and grateful that yes, as your friend, I was able to give you that. Never doubt that your life is an example. Never doubt that people learn from you. Let's talk about diversity. Do all your friends look like you? I hope not. Because if they do, you're living in a bubble. And that's not a good way to be. Because nurturing relationships with people who are different from you, they are a rich avenue of grace. All right? People who are different from you are a rich avenue of grace. And let me share with you some of that. I have a friend who is mobility challenged. I watch her move with courage and with gratitude for small things. And I have watched this woman go through crazy, crazy stuff. And she always does it with an attitude of onward, onward. She takes a licking and keeps on ticking. I can never be a whiny crybaby around my friend Sarah. Let's talk about people who are of a different race. I will tell you, I have a longtime friend from high school, and we've had conversations about white privilege because I can be so blind to it. And then when I see clearly, it's a little shocking. The other thing is that if you have a friend who's a different race, you can then become an ally for them, right? Use your privilege for good. Do you have friends who are older than you? I have a dear friend who's turning 80, and he's going to do a triathlon. And by golly, it's on my calendar. I'm going to get up before dawn and be there at the starting line and be there with my pom-poms and cheering him on every step of the way. Because if you're 80 years old and you're doing a triathlon, you deserve a cheering section, right? I want to be 80 and doing a triathlon. Do you have friends who are younger? I'm fortunate because I've had some really great friends for a really long time. Their children are now my friends. And that's a lovely thing, right? I even listen to Taylor Swift on the radio now because of younger people. Do you have friends who are of different sexual orientations? And boy, now, especially if you're friends with young people, there's a whole rainbow of all of that, right? But they are people who struggle with being not understood and not fully embraced. I will tell you that some of the people who have loved me longest and best in my life are gay and lesbian people. And I will tell you that I learned long ago to be their ally. So yes, I was an ally of LGBTQ rights long before we knew it, before it was cool. Do you have friends of the opposite sex? I mean, friends, not an old boyfriend or an old lover or someone maybe you want as a future lover, but someone who's a friend. My friend Paul, he's like a brother to me. If I need a man's perspective, he's not afraid to share it. We need people like that are not our spouses, not our siblings, but someone who can give us how the world looks from their place. What about politics? Oh, this one's a minefield, right? This one's a minefield. But if you have a friend who believes differently than you, but can have a reasonable, rational conversation, you have a treasure, right? And I will tell you, I had one of those, and they kind of went off the deep end. So I have an opening for someone who sees Religion. Do you have atheist friends? I hope you do. Do you have friends who are of different faiths? If you've got a good fundamentalist friend, there you go. You're gonna learn some things from them, and people who are Jewish, Buddhist. We in Unity, we've known for a long time that their practices are so valuable to us. So having friends of different faiths, even celebrating their holidays, their rituals, can be a powerful thing. Introverts and extroverts. You probably can tell, am an extrovert. Off the charts extrovert when I take those tests. I'm energized by being with people. And you know what? Most of my friends are introverts. I have no idea how that happened, but they are lovely, wonderful people, and what they teach me every time I spend one-on-one time with them is the value of being with someone, just you and them, and focusing on them, and really connecting from the heart. And then as far as friends, let's tell the truth. We all need a friend who owns a pickup truck, right? And we hope to have a friend who owns a boat. I have an opening for that as well. Emotional intimacy. This is the heart of friendship. The shortest distance between two hearts is laughter. It's the first level of intimacy, a declaration that I feel safe enough around you to let my guard down. You can't make war when you're busting up laughing. Anthropologists and sociologists know this, that we trust people who find humor in the same things that we do. Friends help you see the absurdity of life, and they teach you that the best time to laugh is any time you can. The second gift of emotional intimacy is the freedom to speak your messy truth. And I want to read to you one of my favorite quotes. A woman named Dinah Mullock Craik said this. She said, "Oh, the comfort, the inexpressible comfort of feeling safe with a person, having neither to weigh thoughts nor measure words, but pouring them all right out just as they are, chaff and grain together, certain that a faithful hand will take and sift them. Keep what is worth keeping, and with the breath of kindness, blow the rest away. Is that beautiful? With the breath of kindness. The next quality of friendship is that of the witness. Part of being a witness to the life of your friend is holding the high watch for them. And we know this in Unity. Holding the high watch for someone means holding that space of vision of their well-being and believing in it, right? So when we hold the high watch for others, when we have it held for ourselves, this is the greatest gift of friendship. Because friends see us and believe in us in ways that sometimes we have trouble seeing and believing in ourselves. They're a mirror to our presence in the world. David White wrote a lot about friendship. And the man has the skill of wordcraft beyond what I can. He's a treasure. So let me read what David White says. To remain friends, we must know the other and their difficulties, and even their sins, and encourage the best in them, not through critique, but through addressing the better part of them, the leading creative edge of their incarnation. The leading creative edge of their incarnation. Thus, subtly discouraging what makes them smaller, less generous, less themselves. Through the eyes of a real friendship, an individual is larger than their everyday actions. And through the eyes of another, we receive a greater sense of our own personhood, one we can aspire to, the one in whom they have the most faith. So you've experienced these things, the emotional intimacy and the witness, when your life has come undone and you've been knocked on your hiney and you feel like a failure and you're all confused and you can't find your way forward, and you pick up the phone and you call a friend. And after a good talk or a long walk or maybe a cup of tea or a glass of wine, they set you straight. And they set you upright, and they remind you of who you are. And if in that whole process of your life kind of falling apart, if you've done something dumb, your friend is probably loves you enough to kind of give you a little spanking and say, come on, shape up, right? That's what friends do, and they love us. They know how wonderful you are, and they remind you of it. David White again says, the ultimate touchstone of friendship is not improvement, neither of the other nor of the self. The ultimate touchstone is witness, the privilege of having been seen by someone and the equal privilege of being granted the sight of the essence of another, to have walked with them and to have believed in them, and sometimes just to have accompanied them for however brief a span on a journey impossible to accomplish alone. So all well and good, you say. That's great if you have friends, but maybe I'm kind of lacking a little. What do I do? A couple of ideas. First, make sure you've made friends with spirit. Make sure you've made friends with yourself. Make sure you've made friends with life. Making friends with life. If you're just basically a grumpy person who's having an argument with everything that comes in front of you, a little tough to befriend people. Just remember, though, that God's your greatest fan, your greatest ally. And I don't know if any of you get the daily emailed Notes from the Universe. It's a free thing. Just Google Notes from the Universe and sign up. And every day the universe sends you a message of support. And the universe, whoever's writing that, has a hilarious sense of humor. I recommend it. Notes from the Universe. So go all in on life. The life force is your best friend. Develop a sense of pronoia. I love this word, pronoia. It's the feeling and belief that the world around you conspires for your good. Think of the whole world as your friend. Refuse to see the negative side of anyone. Know that everyone wants you to have the best, and affirm this wherever you go. I've often said that the hardest lesson we have to learn as adults is how to let people love us. All right? I want you to hear that. The hardest lesson we ever learn is how to let people love us and believe them. So if you don't get anything else I say today, get this. You are loved. People really do like you, and they enjoy being around you, and you have gifts to share with people. And when you go forth knowing that in your heart, it's amazing what happens, what changes. So all those little gremlins of fear and inadequacy, duct tape on the mouth in the timeout room. All right. And then get busy. And then making friends is a matter of getting busy. We make friends by showing up, by participating, and by contributing, by being open about who we are and what matters to us. You don't need permission to be somebody's friend. You just be it. For example, if someone, I was out running errands one day, and a friend of mine called me on my cell phone and said, "Hey, what about Evelyn?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "She just put on her Facebook page that she's going to the emergency room and she's going to Valley." And I went, "Oh my God, I'm a mile away. I'm going there right now." And I walked into the emergency room and walked in to be with my friend while she was having a medical emergency. I didn't call and say, "Hey, Eb, you okay? You want some company?" I just showed up. Just show up. When you know that someone is having a crisis, when they are ill, when they've had a death in the family, do the old school thing. Show up at their home and show up with food. And if you come in and the kitchen is a mess, clean it up. Feed the children, feed the pets. And if the lawn is overgrown, find the mower and mow it. Just do. The worst thing you can do for someone who's in a crisis is say, "Call me if you need anything." No, don't ask them to make any more decisions. You can observe, you know them, you love them, you know what would be helpful. Just do it. Show up for the joyful times. I would not have missed my friend's 70th birthday party, and I'm going to be there for my friend's triathlon. And I show up for art show openings, and if they're on stage for anything, I'm in the audience. Right? Your presence matters in the lives of people you know. And yes, Celia gives an amen to that. Yes, yes. Being vulnerable and honest and open. Listen, be generous with your time and your talent and your treasure. And that's all it takes to make and have friends. Khalil Gibran, he wrote these words 100 years ago, speak to us of friendship. He said, "Your friend is your needs answered, for you come to him with your hunger and you seek him for peace. And then let there be no purpose in friendship, save the deepening of the spirit. And let your best be for your friend. If he must know the ebb of your tide, let him know its flood also. For what is your friend that you should seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live." Right? So I want to give us a little homework. I want you to spend some time thinking about your friends and meditate on each one. Maybe write their name down and think about them and think about what have they given you? What have you received from them? But don't stop there. Realize in that reciprocity, what is it that you give to them? Why is that relationship of value to you both? So sit with that kind of gratitude for the people in your life. Because I tell you, I resolve to be a good friend, a better friend, every every day. I resolve to reach out more, to appreciate more, to give and forgive sooner and cleaner. I share what I love and I teach what I know, and I promise to laugh with others as often and as much as I possibly can. And maybe you'll commit to that too? Let's do it together.